Hey, Will, I hope you're not just playing Xbox while you're sick. Maybe catch up on some of that work you need to catch up on. Maybe. All right, so I will anonymize you guys to protect your artistic abilities.
Oh, thank you.
But if we look at some of our drawings that we've made here, by the way, in case you haven't noticed, there is a straight line tool versus just the pencil. There's a straight line tool, and some of you right now are going, oh, because you didn't realize that there's a straight line tool. That one's pretty good. That's pretty decent. We're a little slopey, right? I don't think our line... So what would make our life easier here? Not E-word, easier, right? What could make our life easier? What would you like? Oh, some sort of grid behind both of them. Well, don't worry. I'm here to answer your wishes. Next screen, you get a grid put behind them. Because it's like Santa Claus. It knows what you want. Oh, look at the pretty bee.
I'm personally kind of afraid of Santa Claus because, like, who's saying to me
Lydia,
my house?
chill. We're doing math right now.
So
I can't, like, make little jokes if everyone's going to take 30 seconds of response. By the way, if I haven't said this, your names are famous mathematicians. That is something you're allowed to Google in the middle of class. If you're curious, why is your name Carly Noon? You are allowed to Google what they did and what their contribution to math was. I'm totally fine with that. If you don't know who MC Escher is, he's like a math artist. His art is super cool. All right, I'm going to be quiet to let you guys work on your scaled copies made on a grid for a few minutes. I have a very specific question I want you to think about. If you have a diamond, right? So imagine a real diamond, not just a drawing. So you have a diamond, and then you have another diamond that is twice as wide, twice as tall. Like everything is scaled up by 2, right? Think 3D diamond. Would it be worth twice as much, or would it be worth more, or would it be worth less? So think, you don't have to like answer out loud, but you take a diamond, a physical diamond, like imagine like a physical thing, right? Here's my diamond. Oh, look. He asked me, I said yes. All right, so you double width, double height, double everything. Would it be worth twice as much, more, or less? Just, I don't want answers out loud right now, because that's going to be our next activity. Only 2 of us chose bees, and only 2 of us chose whales. That's interesting. But for maybe one of us that might be willing to volunteer, if you chose the bee, we got a lot of diagonal lines on there. Right? Like the sides. How can anyone talk me through, and maybe it's you're not on the bee, but the diagonal lines, I can't just like count diagonals, right? So any of these scale drawings that involve diagonal lines, I need help. Anyone want to tell me who you are and how you did your scale drawing? Who are you? Like what mathematician? What's your mathematician name? Is it No Bao Chao? All right, talk me through how you did the diagonals.
So, like, I counted the.
Yeah, come on up. We can write on this. Actually, I'm going to make it so people at home can see it. So give me 10 seconds to get this copied over. I wanted to be able to do things live with as you guys made stuff, so that's hard to prep. Guys, if your life doesn't have a soundtrack in your head, it could be more entertaining. All right. Go ahead. So, up here, no. My smart word's different. Reminder, hey, give me your eyes up here so I don't have to do this a bunch of times. I don't use this because then it's not in the video. So, when we use my smart board, we use up here, calligraphy pen will make it look fancier. You can pick whatever color your heart desires. You can grab the pen if you want, or you can write with your finger. All right, how did you do those diagonals?
Okay, so I counted like these.
Like on the little one first, right?
Oh yeah.
Probably.
And then I counted like these. And like that. And
So you did like your over and your up. So you did the straight lines. Okay, so it was like 3 and 4. Okay, what'd you do then?
So I doubled the numbers and like so I knew to go.
Pardon the interruption. Would Nolan Steenecker please report to the Perry main office?
Are you
Nolan Steenecker to the Perry main office,
Very
please.
I knew like I'm going to only go like to the side by 6 and up by 8.
Okay, so anyone have questions about, we counted 3 and 4 for our diagonal. It's like 3 over, 4 up. So then we did 6 and 8, right? Because the diagonal, we can't really count the diagonal. We could do Pythagorean theorem. You don't need to yet, but we could. Any questions on this? All right. Thank you very much.
No, I got it. I thought there was
All right, so on a grid, straight lines, maybe some diagonal lines, are we feeling pretty good at how we could draw scaled drawings? So tomorrow what we're going to do is head out to the family room and create a scale drawing of the family room and try to decide what layout might work better, because we think the family room could work better potentially if we got the tables away from the lockers, potentially if we changed how the computer lab area was set up, but we want your guys' feedback. So we're going to go practice this in like real life out in the family room. But let's say that we're actually doing like a design, like a flooring design, or like an art design, or a wall, like a mural or something like that. Let's take a pause on your current activity. So bump out of Make It Scale. And here in about 10 seconds, it should pop up that you guys now have the activity Tiles. By the end of the week, we'll be doing homework about scaling and how that impacts area. But I really like the whole like learning by doing that Desmos lets us do. I'm going to flip my 5-minute timer, and I'm going to challenge myself to not say anything in the next 5 minutes. I want you guys to go into this with an open mind of be careful assuming you know what's going to happen. Okay? Be careful assuming, well, yeah, if that does that and that does that, then that does that. Just be careful. Okay? You might really know what's going to happen, but you might not. The tiles. Tiles should have just popped up. Slide 3, some of you are assuming that you know what's happening and you're not actually turning on your brain. Caroline, where are you? So when I said let's take a pause on Make It Scale and move over to tiles, did you figure that was for everyone but you? It's okay. You might have not heard me. Move over to tiles. There's a couple of us who need to go back and revisit slide 3, but I'll let you figure that out. There's only like 6 of us who are past slide 3, so that means if that's you, go back and double check what you put. See if you thought through it or if you assumed. It's dangerous to assume things. By the way, I think I made it. Now that I looked at the timer, it's out. Do you guys want me to try again for 5 minutes? Do you think I can do it? It's really hard for me to not talk for 5 minutes. Have I told you the joke in my family? So I had a speech impediment when I was a child. When I would say pizza, it'd come out as pita. When I would try to say happy birthday, it would come out as bappy birthday. I'm not joking. We could Zoom with my sister right now and she would vouch for me. Because my sister, who's 2.5 years older than me, had to serve as my translator. Then I got speech therapy. A couple years later, everyone could understand me and they were like, oh gosh, he never stops talking. So the joke in my family is the speech pathologist did too good of a job and they kind of wish they hadn't done as good of a job. And I never stopped talking. We're going to try 5 minutes again. Careful assuming that you know what you're doing. Count things. That'll help if you actually count things. Don't get... What? Mind your business. This is like lingering response. Like, come on. Double check your multiplications. I believe what you're saying.
Wow.
I'm telling you guys, as we get to the tougher math, you'll make the silly, simple mistakes because your brain is thinking about the complicated part. You go to do a multiplication and you drop the ball. And like the quarterback of the Browns. Lydia, double check slide 5. You're going too fast. Yeah, then when the scale factor isn't a whole number. When it's not a whole number, that gets tricky. I don't like this. Guys, I will tell you if it's meant to be a no calculator thing, but a lot of what we do this year is tougher than what it's worth to try to do in our head. Just makes sense to just use a calculator. I mean, your brain was spending its resources on the difficult task, and you just dropped the ball on the easier one. So my challenge for you is, even if we're using a calculator, what is the calculation that we should be performing to get from one area to the next one? So what I mean is, let's say I use a scale factor of 1.5. Or let's make it more interesting, go 2.5. How can we just like do the math to figure this out? I'll take answers in a minute because we're not all far enough yet. So if you want to try to figure this out, if you haven't figured this out, maybe go back and count some tiles and take a moment to think about this. I'm going to try to make mine prettier. So if I put these two little pieces together, that would be a tile, right? And then a tile. Oh, man. I'd much rather do some math than try to count all these partial tiles. Well, I guess I could just count the whole tiles and ignore the colors. I guess I could do Harrison. Hold on. Let me double check where we're at. Because this is what I'm really like. I would prefer that we wait for a couple minutes. And whoever is Jamshid, you need to go back to slide 4. Check your famous mathematician name. Jack, are you still moving forward, man? Did I not what? I unanonymized now, so I can see who is who. So I can see who is lagging behind. Yeah, okay. I also have to teach. I can't just not talk. Alright, I am about to let Harrison help me out. So if you want to, on your own, try to figure it out, you got 1 minute left. Then I'm going to let Harrison tell us what we do. You got 1 minute. All right, in your head, ask yourself, because I'm going to let Harrison tell me. But ask yourself, do you know what to do when given any scale factor to determine the new, area that it's going to take up? Because our original area here, remember, now we're not just talking lengths. Now we're talking area. So our original area is 14. Our new area is going to be scaled by a scale factor of 2.5. Harrison, how do I use that 2.5?
You meant a substitute scale factor as x.
Sure.
So for the area, you're going to do x squared. So it's
X squared what? You're right, but x squared...
2.5 squared. Times 14.
There we go, times the original. So the new is going to be whatever your original area was. So that's times your scale factor squared. So here our scale factor that I made was 2.5 squared. Guys, I don't know about you, but 2.5 times 2.5 is kind of tough. I would grab a calculator, but after you teach math for a decade, you have it memorized that it's 6.25. So now we have 14 times 6.25, but I can calculate that. That feels a whole lot easier than counting tiles. So when you get to your Khan Academy that is dealing with area, we do not just do times 2.5. You got to take whatever scale factor you're using squared times the original area. Lydia.
I guess I did it wrong, but also right.
Okay, say more.
What I would do is, a lot of times it was a rectangle that I was doing for the routine thing, and if it was a scale factor of 1.523, just a random example.
Yeah, I'm going to go find yours. But go ahead, keep talking.
I would multiply each side by 1.523, and then I would make that in my head into a new rectangle.
You did not do it wrong.
I just did it different.
Yeah. So don't say you did it wrong.
But right.
So yeah, but you lied. You said you did it wrong.
But right.
But the wrong part is a lie. So what Lydia's saying is, imagine scaling this rectangle using a scale factor of 4. Lydia, I'm going to shrink this screen down a little bit, said she's going to take 5 times 4. What would that be? So she did times 4 here. I can't do this. Sorry, I'm putting it over in Smart. I cannot do that. It's too... I can't write with a mouse. Can't write with a mouse. You just can cook some pasta with a mouse. Get it? It's a Ratatouille reference.
Oh. I think they're adding the rounds to the pot.
Guys, think about the inside of my brain. Well, actually, don't think about the inside of my brain. It's a crazy place. So,
I know.
Lydia just said she took this. If you know what you're doing, you don't need to be paying attention. But if this has been confusing, you might want to pay attention. She did times 4. What'd you do over here? What is... Hold on. What is it if you do times 4 times 4? That's really times 4 squared. The same thing Harrison told us to do.
Yeah.
But this doesn't work when it's a not rectangle,
Yeah.
because then it gets a little funky of if I have a hexagon, I have to do it to each of them, and then I have to calculate the area separately. So you're right, but with weirder shapes, it's just easier to do scale factor squaring.
Yeah.
Don't lie. Don't say you're wrong. Say I did it differently.
For the record, they cancel out. Wrong but right equals. I think they cancel out. Is that incorrect?
It's still a lie because you didn't do it wrong. I just want you guys to stop thinking you've made mistakes when you do it a different way. There's a million ways to do math, guys. Probably more than that. Harrison?
Yes, but I bet the feeling is called the square cube wrong.
Ah, yeah. We're getting a little deeper than we needed to today, which is totally fine. I want to check if we've made it where I want to.
I always thought the rat and Ratatouille was named Ratatouille, which made Remy hot.
No, the rat is named Remy, and the dish is called Ratatouille.
I know, I'm not that dumb.
Liam, you have some kind of mistake on slide 3, but everything else is good, so I assume it was some sort of silly math mistake. If this all feels good to you, you can have the last 7 minutes to work on comm. Whatever you need to do. We will dedicate some class time on Friday to working on the unit test if you haven't worked on it yet. But I think it's available. If you've done all the practices, you can work on the unit test. I did adjust due dates. Actually, everyone pull up Khan so we can talk about the due dates together. Oh, yeah, no, I see your confused faces. This class used to end at 49. I see your confused faces. I got it wrong. It's almost time for us to leave. But pull up Khan real quick. We have a minute left. I got a minute. Actually, I got 90 seconds, technically.
What did I do?
Look at that assignment list. You should now see, I mean, if you go to past due, you should see the 2 that were from yesterday. But now there should be 3 today. Sorry. Most of you had them done. 2 for tomorrow, 2 for Thursday, unit test for Friday. Do we all see the new due dates? Okay, those are our new due dates that we're operating on. Have a great day. I figured it was something. So, hold on, let me pause this video so it's not just awkward. Talk to me